Hi, Shalom. I'll start with a Hasidic story. In Galicia, there lived a very holy man. His name was Rabbi Meir. He lived in the town of Premishalan. So he was called Rabbi Meir Premishalan. And this Rabbi Meir once related the following. He said, Meir was in heaven, and as I was promenading in heaven, a soul came up. A 79-year-old man had just died. So I'm observing, the soul comes to heaven, and it's a bit bewildered, not sure where to go. So an angel comes out and greets the soul. Young man, follow me here. And I was taken aback, because he was clearly not a young man, he was 79 years old. What chutzpah that an angel should be so little considerate of this man's. And literally at the same moment, a tragic thing happened. A 29-year-old man passed, and his soul comes up, also not sure where to go, and that very same soul angel was dispatched, and it addresses the soul. Oh, venerable sage, please follow me. When I saw both of this, I could not stand it, and I shouted at the angel, isn't this the world of truth? How can you call an old man young and a young man old? To which the angel responded, Meir, in heaven we don't count time by how many times he ate dinner. We count age by what they accomplished. This 79-year-old man lived 79 years on earth, but did very little to accomplish the mission he was sent down. So he's still young. Whereas that 29-year-old man was sent down for a mission, and he finished it in a very quick time. So he actually lived a full life. He's a sage. He's an elder. Story number 2. The Maggid of Mezrich, who eventually takes over from the founder of the Hasidic movement, the Baal Shem Tov, had a son who was so saintly that his colleagues called him the angel, Rabbi Avraham the Malach. This exceedingly saintly individual had a son whose name was Reb Sholem Shachna. Both the father, Rabbi Avraham, and the son died at very early age. I think both of them before 40, I'm not sure. The mother outlived her son and grandson, was very distraught. And she went to one of the great Hasidic leaders at that time and said, I don't understand. Piety brings life, sin brings death. My son and grandson were both very, very saintly. How come they didn't have long life? It certainly wasn't because of sin. And the Venerable Tzaddik responded, you know, when you have oil and a wick, the wick will shed light. If it's a very thin wick, the oil will last a long time, though the light is not that bright. However, the same amount of oil, if it's a very thick wick, it will draw the oil into itself and the oil will go out. But the light that it sheds is very bright. He said, your children and grandchildren, they have very, very great souls, and they have a body that nourishes that soul. But because they shed so much light in such an intense and quick time, that their body simply did not have any more fuel to offer. Story number 3, but not Hasidic. There was a fellow that had a mid-sized business. He had like 30 people working for him. He was the boss. He had a manager and a vice manager, and essentially everyone else was working on the floor. One fellow, we'll call him Tom, was very conscientious. He was working already 12 years and did his job quite efficiently. Showed up on time, left on time, was very agreeable. There was an opening, a need. There was so the boss hired a younger fellow, and he too was very agreeable and did his work efficiently. Some 2 years into the young man's career, the position for vice manager opened up, so the boss picked the younger fellow to be the vice manager. Tom was very, very insulted and went to the boss and said, "Boss, we know each other for 12 years. You look at my work ethic, nothing to complain about. I have seniority. Why is it that you took this youngster? He's only here 2 years. I'm here 12 years. He said, "No, actually, he has more seniority over you." He said, "How could that be?" He said, "Well, he's here for 2 years." He said, "I just told you I'm here 12 years. He said, "No, you're here 1 year, and you repeated that year 11 times. But this fellow, every 4 months, we give out a questionnaire on how to improve or comments. And every time he's on spot. He thinks out of the box. Here it's to encourage morale. Here it's to be more efficient. Here it is this, here it is that. So his first year and his second year are 2 different years. But by you, it's repetitious. It's the first year over and over. What do I want to bring out with these stories? Very simple. We could repeat one day many times over. And you could be 99 years old, and essentially you've repeated your 18-year-old outlook on life X amount of times, X amount of weeks and months and years. Or you could shed a lot of light, and you could recreate yourself. When I say recreate yourself, I don't mean physically. I don't even really mean spiritually. What I mean to say is you could bring a freshness, something new, something exciting, something enthusiastic, something in your day to introduce that you didn't have yesterday. Each and every one of us could find something like that. But I am repeating this because I'm thinking again about the nation of Israel and the people of Israel. And I don't know if I'm correct, so you have full license to disagree with me, but I might suggest that for tens of years, maybe hundreds of years, Jewish life in Europe was repeating itself. When I say repeating itself, essentially the economic situation could not change. So they stayed in the same place. And of course, the rabbis were greater rabbis, and the shoemakers were great shoemakers, and it was just repeated. But when we look at the second part of the 20th century and the 21st century, which we're in right now, it's really a different world. There are no more tailors or schneiders in Yiddish. The rabbis are different, the laymen are different, the professions are different. The place where we live is different. The food is different. Our perspectives on life is different. Everything is different. It's almost as if there's a breaking out of the box into a metamorphosis in a way. Very practically speaking, for almost 1,000 years, Torah was found in Europe, not in Asia, and not in Africa. Today, there's Torah everywhere. There was a time when Torah study was limited. Today it's unlimited. We have the World Wide Web, thousands of websites, and hundreds of them truly good, with great teachers Every language just about the Torah can be studied. And wherever you go, in the most outlandish ways, I wouldn't be surprised even in Antarctica that there's some Jewish fellow that's there. So on the frozen tundra, someone is making a bracha. It's amazing times. And the synonym for amazing times is it's messianic times. The individual and the community are connected. If we will bring a newness and a freshness to our Torah study and our good deeds and our charity giving, it will have an effect on the nation of Israel. And if the nation of Israel, especially that the way it's perceived in the Holy Land of Israel, will bring a freshness in their service to Hashem, then each and every one of us will be strengthened. And this is happening. We just merely hope and pray that it gets even more accelerated so we could see the actual conclusion very successfully. Shalom.